What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you folks have a fantastic day. So today I want to touch on the condo market and what could be happening here in South Florida. Also, if you're a homeowner that lives in a condo association or considering on buying one in the future, how this can affect you in a major way. So before we get into this, I actually want to take my time with this video and not rush into it like I would typically do with most of my videos and just go off the dome with this one. So I actually have some notes here that I wrote on a little card, and also just do my best to explain everything in small details, that way you can understand and how this could affect you whether now or in the future, and things to look for. Could we possibly see foreclosures in the condo market? Most definitely. What does it mean for you as a homeowner as well as a buyer when you're someone that can only afford, let's say, a property in a condo price range here in South Florida, excuse me, and can't afford a home, a single family home within the type of criteria you're looking for? So let's get into it. So what caused this major change to happen all of a sudden? Well, I've seen it personally come in. I follow a lot of news articles and websites that talk about everything that goes to South Florida, whether it's Instagram, a newsletter I'm subscribed to, or just any type of trend on LinkedIn or Instagram. And I noticed a lot of movements were played after the Surfside building collapsed back in 2021 in June. Almost about 100 people lost that day. And after that happened, it started trickling down a lot. I noticed for most of my buyers it's become very difficult. A lot of rec lease was coming up in communities that I've never seen before. And it was just a lot of challenges I experienced as an agent at the time, helping buyers out. I experienced a lot, and it was just more difficult depending on how a buyer could qualify for a loan just to even move into a condo. So the legislators here decided they're going to start tracking every detail when it comes to a condo association. Now, what does that mean? First off, they want to look at their balance sheet. Some of you guys have heard, whoever purchased a condo or considering buying it, there's a thing called reserves. And what a reserve is pretty much the financial statement of how the building is kept up to date, whether it's structural or if everything is up to date as far as like maintenance. You know, they just want to make sure their building in general as a whole and their bank statement, I should say, is in the green area. You never want to be in the red area. But unfortunately here in South Florida, almost 80% condos aren't really in the green area, except for, I would say, like new development or luxury buildings. Those are predominantly ones that you'll see have good reserves. Obviously they're brand new or built, let's say, in 2000 or 2010. So those are like the 20 to 10%, I'm gonna say, that aren't really affected by this legislation, new law that they're passing by to get inspected. Now, they do get inspected all the time because every building has to go through a 30 to 40 year inspection, but still they're brand new, so they're kind of exempt from this, I'm gonna say. But let's say you're somebody who doesn't live in that type of building, that's a new construction, or on top of that, or just even newer, let's say early 2000, 2010 delays. How can that affect you? Most buildings in South Florida were built about 40, 50 years ago. And unfortunately, the way it was designed, and on top of that, how they kind of defer some of the maintenance, I'm going to say, that kind of trickled things down, which was one of the reasons which caused the downfall to the Surfside building, was lack of design. Like, the design was poorly how they placed it, the location at the time. Also, the association people really didn't care. And I'm getting most of this information, I'm going to say real quick, from a lot of podcasts I watch, a lot of articles I read, and just doing my own research at the end of the day. Like, I always recommend everybody, do your own research. Take my information with a grain of salt, but do your research as best as you can. But besides that, also just lack of maintenance, not staying up to code and making sure everything is great, everything is up to standard, what needs to be changed. Now, when things like that happen, here how it affects you as a buyer. Let's say you just bought a condo now for $200,000 because that's all you could afford, and within this time to 2024, the legislation gets to your building and like, look, you guys are on the negative first start. Your balance sheet isn't on point. And then on top of that, you need a lot of maintenance to keep this building up to par for safety reasons. We're going to slap $300K assessment on you guys, and every tenant has to pay, let's say, $50,000 within 5 years. Now, you as the owner who just bought that building, or let's say you even the current owner that lives in a building in a situation like this, it's your responsibility now to pay that bill. But once again, you can only for a $200K condo, and let's say your payment is $1,000. Anything over $1,000, including your other expenses on the side, personal, that puts you in the negative. Now, how can that affect you? Well, you can either go into foreclosure, which hopefully, I hope this doesn't happen to anybody, or you will have to sell. But then if you sell, what is going to happen to you? You're either going to have to move in with a family member, buy a property with somebody else that you both could kind of afford the payments together, or go back to renting, which I don't think anybody who owns a place wants to rent, because the rent at the end of the day isn't all that glamorous either. You're paying almost $3,000 for a 3-2, depending where you live in South Florida, where pretty much you could spend that on a house or a condo, depending on location. So that's how it affects you now, because most of these bills, like I said, doesn't have great reserves. I'm not going to say all of them are deferring maintenance, but I'm pretty sure majority of them are deferring small maintenance. Maybe some are deferring majors at the end of the day. And that's why a lot of people are getting slapped with these big assessments now. But how does that affect the buyer now? Once when this new bill or law officially goes into play, and like I said, it can happen anytime from today to 2024, where it's going to kick it up to the max. It becomes hard now. All condos are pretty much purchased with cash. And the reason why all condos will be purchased with cash moving forward, because when applying for a loan, you as the buyer has to meet certain criteria, but also depending on the property you qualify. So in this case, a condo, things such as any structural damage to the building or any type of assessment that puts you over your buying power, or just in general doesn't rectify it being approved for the loan processor, it makes it very hard for you. So that's why it comes to like, are we going to see foreclosures happening? Most definitely we're going to see. Is it going to be a lot? I can't really say. I'm not a fortune teller, but if things continue the way it plays out, you're going to see a lot happen. A lot of people's hands are going to be played. Either I got to work 2 or 3 jobs now just to pay this type of extra assessment, or I could sell, but where I'm going to go? Do I move back to New York with my family, or to Orlando, or somewhere else? What am I going to do? So as a homeowner at the moment, I recommend you be very cautious of what your next move is. Start saving as much as you can if you're able to. Start to work extra, because you don't want to be one of those people that hands is forced to either sell or bring somebody in to live with you, relocate. Like, if you really love where you at, start being better with your spending habits and start to think, because you don't know how the future is going to go. Now, with that being said, like I said, as far as a buyer now, same thing. Start working on building your credit up as best as you can. Save a lot of money as best as you can. Like, you need to put yourself in the right position, because if things go into motion, and like I said, it can happen anytime, any condo, all the way to 2024 before things start kicking up a notch. You want to put yourself in the right position, because if, let's say, 80% of the condos here in South Florida are just bad and need complete new redesign or new updates, and everybody's getting hit with an assessment of, for example, 100K plus, you as a buyer is going to be kind of on the bad side, because now you're competing against cash buys from all over the world, and on top of that, it's going to be very difficult, and your buying power is going to be so limited that it's going to be hard for people to buy a property here in South Florida. Most of my friends come from New York. I'm from New York, and everybody reaches out to me always for a 3-2 single family home. That's like the average thing I get. Maybe 1 or 2, I probably get like a 2-1 or 1-1, but in reality it's a 3-2, because I have a lot of friends with kids. So to think of it that way, and they can't afford it, let's just say, for example, now they're forced to get a condo. But how can you get a condo now? Regardless of how much money you want to put down, even if it's 90%, you wouldn't qualify for a loan and you would need cash. So I'm saying this cautiously. Please prepare yourself at this point to put yourself in the right position. Follow your agent. If you had a good agent, hopefully your agent should already explain this to you. For most agents I know, didn't tell them to previous friends of mine who bought property not using me, which it's whatever, I don't really care, but they come to me. So to me, that tells me their agent is either out of the loop or just not out of the loop, just don't really care for them, just waiting to see how things go. But at the end of the day, guys, do your best. If there's anything I could do, reach out to me. Hope this video kind of give you guys some information on what you could do to prepare yourself. Like always, just be in touch with your board. Go to the board meetings. Ask questions like, do you guys see any special assessments happening very soon? If so, what type of assessments? What could we do as a community in this building to like help get us out of that danger zone, I guess, if you want to put it as, or that red zone, to put us in the right place. Like, you have to be proactive at the end of the day. Yes, you just live in an apartment, but remember, the association people make the rules. And on top of that, if everybody's on line and in the same agreement, things could go smoothly for you guys moving forward. But also just keep in mind that legislators could just snap of a finger, be like, let's target this building. Oh, we don't like XYZ, hit them with a $200K fine. Everybody has to pay $10,000 in 2 years, and now your association payment goes from $200 to about $1,200 a month. So take these things with a grain of salt. Do your research. Reach out to your agent. If not, if you live in South Florida, reach out to me. I would love to sit down, talk to you, see what's the best options for you, see how I can help you out. Hope this video helped you guys a little bit, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.